When we started the Real Estate Investors Summit 4 years ago, I invited Kevin to come and help us launch this program, this mission that I have across Canada. And he really appreciated hearing about my thoughts around the way government was handling things. And that if we were really gonna fix this housing crisis, we needed to fix it ourselves. We needed to say, fuck the government, fuck the municipalities, and please forgive me if there's any politicians in the room, but if there are, I'm gonna tell you right up front, you're freaking failing. If we're gonna fix this housing crisis, we are going to fix this housing crisis. In this room. What I love about Kevin, he's an amazing example of what tenacity is all about. The man is worth more than he's ever been worth, and he works harder than he's ever worked. And we are absolutely blessed to have him here with us today. We're gonna watch a little video so you can get to know him.
People ask me all the time, why are you so mean on Shark Tank? I'm not mean, I'm just telling the truth through the experiences I've lived. I was born into a working class family. I struggled like everybody else did. My mother was from Lebanese descent, my father was Irish. He was a salesman. He sold winter clothing for children. I was about 7 years old when my father died. Those were very tough years for me. My dad died when he was 37 years old, leaving my mother alone with 2 children and a very uncertain future ahead. Life being what it is, changes all the time. My mother met a fellow named George. 2 of them married, and life changed dramatically. My stepdad joined the ILO, the Division of the United Nations. We lived everywhere. We moved to Cambodia, Cyprus, Tunisia, Japan, France, Switzerland. Every 2 years, a different country. Looking back at all the unique cultures I've been steeped in, you understand everybody's challenges in the world, not just your own. My stepdad's a very pragmatic individual. He tells it like it is. I think I learned that trait from him. When I got out of college, I wanted to be a photographer and a rock star. And I tried being a hippie for a few years. My stepfather said to me, you're going to starve to death. You should go back to school right now. When I graduated, I started my first company, Special Night Television. It made sports programming for the networks. Then Softkey started in my basement, which eventually became the Learning Company. And a few years later, I sold it for $4.2 billion. A lot of people see me as the harsh guy on Shark Tank. It's so much. Would you rather have me lie to you because I'm worried about your feelings? I care about your feelings, I care about your money. A shark that is disingenuous, that tries to keep you feeling good when they know your idea has no merit, is doing you a huge disservice. Today I'm really proud to be an entrepreneur and to help entrepreneurs so they can create jobs. You don't start a business out of greed or the pursuit of money. You do it for the pursuit of freedom. But I realized in the early years I didn't have a lot of time for my young kids. I was so busy with my business. So now I try and spend as much time as I can with them. Everything you see around you here, I made myself. I worked like hell for it. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I'm proud to be a capitalist. In my spare time, I love to cook. And I'm crazy about O'Leary fine wines. I'm still taking photographs. And I love to collect guitars. And oh yeah, I love to play them too. Like everybody else, I want to be a rock star when I grow up. Today I spend a lot of time teaching. I tell students you don't start a business out of greed. It's not about money. Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? To set yourself free. The pursuit of entrepreneurship is about freedom and helping others achieve their goals at the same time. People always ask me, why do we keep going? And here's my answer. If you want to help someone, anyone, anywhere in the world, the best thing you can do is to create a job for them. Who does that? Entrepreneurs. I'll spend the rest of my days encouraging people to do exactly what I have done. Become an entrepreneur, start a business, and create jobs, and above all, support others who want to do the same. For me, entrepreneurship and the freedom it gives is the essence of life.
Get on your feet, come on to the stage, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Great to be back at the Real Estate Investors Summit. Why I like it here is we're all entrepreneurs here, and this is great kindred spirit. I'm going to walk you through a bit of a journey today that I think is important for all of you to see, because it's been a while since I've been back here, and the world's changed a lot. And the way I look at it is I invest in all sectors. Every sector, all 11 sectors of the North American economy, but my largest is in real estate. It always has been. I like hard assets. I've been in every form of real estate, and I've done commercial and continuing to do so, as well as residential and condos and everything else. But the market has changed in a bunch of ways. And so the way I want to look at it, the journey I want to take you through, is to talk about the last 36 months and the North American economy, to understand what occurred. And so when this whole thing pre-pandemic started, I had 54 different companies in my portfolio, all private companies. And we were making about, in aggregate, everything from insecticide to commercial kitchens for airlines, wireless charging, really broad base. And you want diversification because when you're doing deals like this, it doesn't always work out. So if you have a good portfolio at any one time, something's doing great to offset whatever isn't working. And so we look at just two numbers every Tuesday morning. We call it the tear sheet. We look at the revenue and the cash, as I like to call it, cash flow. I love that word, cash flow. And so between those two lines, you can really tell how a business is doing, whether it's growing or it's stagnant, or whether it's losing its margin or growing its margins. That's all you need is the two numbers. We were making 15% pre-tax just before the pandemic, 1999. And here we are, we've come out of the pandemic, and this quarter, we will make 17.5%. That is a 20% increase in free cash, which is phenomenal after going through a period of absolute hell like all of us did during the pandemic. Why? Why is that happening? Why is the stock market at all-time high right now? Why is the S&P doing so well? I'm going to show you why, because the economy has changed. So let's talk about what existed pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Pandemic hits, late 2020, we're all forced to work remotely. Nobody has ever done that before in modern times. Nobody has ever shut their headquarters, ever. This happened globally. No one ever did that. I mean, you would think you'd go out of business if you did that, but we didn't. Because what occurred, at the same time, there was an acceleration in technology. Back then, you didn't know what it was called. Today, Kleenex and Zoom mean the same thing. Everybody knows what direct video is now. And whether it's Teams or Zoom, whatever you're using, those technologies saved our asses. People started using them to work remotely. And it worked. No one ever would have done that to themselves, but that adaption of that technology all around the world accelerated a modification of the business model. And I'll tell you what happened. Because distribution shut down, even Walmart and Amazon and Target and all these giant retailers, Canadian Tire, they had to close their stores. So the companies that make the products started shipping them direct to customers. Direct. Now, when you sell something direct to a customer, because that customer has been buying it in retail for 20 years, they still need the good or service, whatever it was. And when you sell, let's say through retail, let's just talk about a basket of big retailers, the ones I just listed, you make 50 cents on the dollar because you have to give about 40% to distribution for them to carry your product, put it on the shelf, manage the movement of it. But when you sell it direct, the only cost you have is the manufacturing cost, the shipping cost, and you keep the rest. So all of a sudden, if you're Nike and you're making 50 cents selling a sneaker, you're now making 80 cents because you now are shipping it directly to the customer because they can't buy it at Foot Locker. Foot Locker's closed. And before the pandemic, Nike was 26% direct to consumer. Today, they're over 50%. And their stock, obviously, and the stock of all S&P 500 companies, depending on what sector, started to move up as the margin increased. Gross margin started to increase. But that's not why added value went to their stock prices. When you sell something direct to a customer, you get something more valuable than gold. You get data. Who are they? Where do they live? What do they buy? What's their flavor preference? What's their size? What color do they want? When do they buy it? You get all that data you never got before. And all of a sudden, your customer's in a direct relationship with you like a marriage. You can talk to them directly. You can actually know exactly what they want, when they want it, where they live. And it started to change the business models for everybody. But wait, it gets better. This is the part that nobody saw coming. In North America, there's 110 million people in Canada, Mexico, and the United States that had cell phones prior to the pandemic that never used them for anything except a text message maybe and a phone call. And they were people generally over 60 years old. The pandemic hits. If they didn't figure out how to order groceries or other goods and services on that phone, they starved to death in their condos because they were locked in. And in a matter of 6 months, 110 million more people started to buy stuff online. And a great Canadian company was one of the engines of that, Shopify. No one ever heard of Shopify pre-pandemic. Boom. They become a behemoth because every one of these retailers and small manufacturers started setting up direct-to-consumer that you could buy from your cell phone. And the economy started to digitize. Complete and massive quantities of data coming in as you're selling direct to customers. And I'll give you an example that's profound. The wine business. Wine. So let's use the American market for a second. 97% of wine in the United States is sold for under $14. Not much different than Canada. But west of the Mississippi is 3 tiers of distribution. East of the Mississippi, 2 tiers. So if you sell a bottle of wine for $10 and you're the winemaker, you get 2 of it. That's it. You got to make your profit off $2. Then the pandemic hits and the government changes the rules about shipping direct from wineries to customers. 39-pound case of wine shipped direct to the customer. 100%. They get all of the margin themselves. And the wine business goes from lack of profitability to through-the-roof cash flow. But wait, they get the data. So today I can tell you, this quarter, the number 1 wine in Florida purchased by women 64 years and older is Moscato. It's a sweet white wine. I think it tastes like shit, but it doesn't matter what I care. That's what they buy. And I know they buy that. So our wine business is able to grow that varietal, make it ready, and hold it on the East Coast for distribution there. We never had that data before. And that's just one tiny example of what's happened here. Now, when you sell 50% of your business direct to consumer, that margin comes back to you. And the reason I keep talking about this, I'm going to bring it right back to the real estate business in a minute. You're going to understand this. So this aspect of that customer relationship changed the whole model for every company, whether it was an S&P behemoth or it was a tiny startup. And the vehicle they used to acquire customers was social media. Social media. Every company on earth, including you, should understand how important social media is today. It has become the number 1 vehicle by which customers search you out, look up who you are, look at your business, look at what you're selling, find out everything about your operating beliefs before they ever talk to you. They've made up their mind online. And if you don't believe that, your competitor understands it. And the companies that are growing, whether they're small or large, have tapped into the power of what social media is. And this is all about community-based businesses, where if you buy a condo and you renovate it and you flip it, you should document the whole story every single day on your cell phone of what you did and cut it down to a time-lapse video so that people that look you up later can see exactly how you did it, and you tell them why you did it that way and the materials you used, and you do it so they know who you are. When they look up your projects and see the masterful work you've done, and if you can get testimonials from the people who bought them, that's even more powerful. People want authentic relationships with people they do business with. They're happy if you tell them the trials and tribulations. I'm going to give you an example right here that is unique. This is a company called Wicked Good Cupcakes. 15 years ago, they went on Shark Tank. This is a mother and daughter team that make cupcakes, put them in a mason jar, and ship them to people. There was no social media at that time except Twitter. That was it. Nothing. Facebook was nascent compared to where it is today. These two, and I thought it was the most stupid idea I've ever seen, they stick a cupcake in a jar, make it weigh 5 times more than a cupcake weighs, put 6 in a pack, and ship them to people. Nobody would give them a dime. Nobody. But they were so persuasive in their presentation, I invested in them. And this is the first time ever on network television we saw the phenomenon of social media. I'll tell you what happened. This is a classic mother-daughter relationship. That girl in the red or pink t-shirt, her name is Tracy. Danny's the mother. She came on to the Shark Tank, said she can't see it, covered in tattoos. We'd never seen that before. And the network freaked out. They're thinking they're going to blur it or something. I said, no, that's what kids do now. Don't worry about it. They clearly had a contentious relationship. They were fighting all the time, just like mothers and daughters do. And one day, Tracy videoed a big fight with her mother about what they were doing in their kitchen that day making the cupcakes. Something about the flavor or too much sugar. They were fresh and don't put any preservatives in, and they're just fighting. And to get back at her mother, she posts it on Twitter, which opened up a 30-second video option way back then. And all of a sudden, it blows up, and it goes viral. That was the first time viral meant viral. And the network called us and said, call her to take that down. Take that down. We can't have this fighting on the air like this. This is crazy. These are Shark Tank guys. So I call up Danny, and I said, Danny, you got to take that thing down. The network's freaking out. She said, I just got orders for 9,000 cupcakes. So, I'm not kidding. So I called back the producer of the show. I said, listen, she just got orders for 9,000 cupcakes on one post. So he calls back up to the network and says, 9,000 orders. Comes back down the post to me and said, well, find out how that happened. So I called her up and I said, keep fighting. Post it every single day. Tell your story on social media. These people became the Kardashians of cupcakes. That's what happened. They went crazy with social media. The company got sold to Hickory Farms. They're rich as piss. And they did it all on social media, all direct to customers. They told an authentic story about a mother-daughter team that hired the rest of the family, grew the business, opened up commercial kitchens. They never stopped fighting. Now, Danny, she married a drummer. I did her prenup. That guy will never get anything. Tracy, the mother, is in Hollywood, writes screenplays now, pursuing her dream. This was the first time we ever saw the power of social media. Now it's commonplace. Now every deal on Shark Tank does social media for obvious reasons. But the reason I want you to start thinking about that goes to customer acquisition. Every business, including real estate in America, is about relationships between people. Trust, authenticity, and product. That's what it is. What do you got? What can you do for that buyer? What have you done before? Why are you to be trusted? And authenticity is something you can publish yourself. It's not that hard to do. And if you can't do it, hire a 23-year-old. They'll show you how to do it. That's how it works. Let's talk about a case study I want you to look at, because I kind of keep track of time here. I want to spend time with Q&A, but I need you to understand this lesson because I've learned it myself. I'm going to show you a case study of a business that should be bankrupt pre-pandemic, that's not bankrupt, that's doing wildly successfully. How did they do it? I call this the Great North American Digital Pivot. This is a company called Blueland, and I always use this as my example. It is in the most boring industry in the world: cleaning fluids, detergents, toilet bowl cleaners, window surface cleaners, all that crap that nobody cares about, but they have to buy it because you got to clean your home. So, her name is Sarah Poo. By the way, something interesting, over 16 years, all these Shark Tank deals. I do a lot of other things, but Shark Tank I've been doing for so long. 70% of my successful companies have been run by women that don't know each other. I mean, that's remarkable. Women are very good at managing risk. Yes, you should definitely applaud that because they've learned, that old adage, you want something done, give it to a busy mother. It's true when you're an entrepreneur, no matter what you're doing, including real estate, you got to juggle a lot of stuff. Usually it's family businesses, and you got to make sure that you're maintaining an eye on the cash flow, but you've also got to raise your family, and women are particularly good at it, and I've learned that through Shark Tank. This is Sarah Poo. She's also a mother of 2. I want to show you a 3-minute portion of her pitch in 1999, pre-pandemic. This is a very hot deal on Shark Tank, and you'll understand why. Then we're going to watch what happened to her. Watch this.
First into the tank is an eco-friendly version of a household staple.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I am Syed.
And we're here seeking $270,000 for 2% of our company, Blueland.
Wow.
Sharks. This is what an average household uses in 1 year in cleaning products.
And many of these products, they're over 90% water, which means that you're overpaying for plastic packaging and a ton of water. This is such a waste. Which is why we created our revolutionary, eco-friendly brand, Blueland, where we've turned this into this. So now your pantry can look like this.
How does it work? Simply fill your bottle with water, drop in a tablet. Minutes later, you're ready to get cleaning.
And our tablets come with a beautiful, reusable forever bottle, so you never have to throw away another plastic cleaning bottle ever again. Together, we can eliminate approximately 5 billion plastic cleaning bottles each year. So, Sharks, let's save money and space without the plastic waste.
Bam.
We have samples to pass out as well, and I can bring around more.
Is it one product cleans all windows and surfaces, or are there multiple products, multiple tablets?
Yes, so we have 4 products. We have a foaming hand soap, and we have 3 cleaning sprays. That includes a multi-surface cleaner, a bathroom cleaner, and a glass and mirror cleaner.
Listening to Lori, I realized that there's a piece of this she understands far better than I. So I would propose, without consulting with Lori, that we invest $1 million.
Whoa.
For 25% of the company.
Are you in the deal or not?
I think I'm going to change the deal
Well,
if
while you're
Daniel's
changing the
interested.
deal, I'm going to make you an offer that's probably more close to what you actually wanted to do. Because I don't think you're going to sell 25% of your company here today. All right, what I'd like to do is do $270 for 5%, and I want 1% advisory shares, because frankly, I bring a lot to the table. There's only one Mr. Wonderful.
Changed our offer. We're going to do 270 for 8%.
Ouch.
4 and 4. That's the offer.
My offer is $270,000 for 6%, and the other is $270 for 8%. What do you want to do?
We can't give away that much. You guys know as much as we do.
Shocking.
That it is critical
Do
for
you have
us
a counter
to
for
have
any
a
of
lean,
us?
high-growth
Do you
business.
have a counter for any of us?
270 at 3%.
Ooh, you guys really didn't get this.
I would love the opportunity just to say one more thing.
Sarah,
In the theme
Yes,
of
okay.
compromise,
Yes.
I'll go to 5% for the 270.
we're not going down. It's like already too little.
So Kevin,
Yes.
we know you like a good royalty. What if we kept you at 3% for 270, but then we give you a royalty of 50 cents per kit until you make your money back?
Done.
Oh my God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'm really
really excited.
Great job, Sarah.
Good luck, congrats, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness.
Love it.
Oh my God. The way we were just started, I thought there was no way we would walk with
What a shot! Oh my goodness.
There's a woman who understands me. All right. So the deal's hot because she eliminates plastic. That's why. And all the coastal states in Canada, the United States, Mexico do not want plastic floating in the ocean near them, and also in lakes and everything. So this is hot. And the trouble is with cleaning fluids, there's no direct to consumer because that product category was always a 6 or a gallon, 2.5 pound gallon of Tide or whatever it was. So it's sold in end caps in grocery and in retail. So she didn't even have a direct to consumer strategy, and she didn't intend to have one. So she raises $50 million, including mine, and she builds inventory for their launch. And they had an end cap set up in Walmart and Target. I mean, you name it, every retailer wanted this thing. When? Third quarter 2020. So obviously there was no retail anymore. The pandemic, she never saw it coming. Boom, she's screwed. And I was waiting for the phone call for her to say, we ran out of money, we're going bankrupt. I need some signatures from you. And she did call me, but that's not what she called me. She said, listen, the pandemic has shut us down. They're going to shut down production of television commercials tomorrow. Can you get to Brooklyn tonight? And tomorrow morning from 6 to midnight, we can shoot a commercial. And after that, can't do it anymore because SAG-AFTRA union is going to be forced to shut down indefinitely until they figure out this whole pandemic thing. So I said, it'll never happen, Sarah, because you got to go through the SAG-AFTRA union to get me cleared to shoot a commercial for television. And I don't even know why you want to shoot a commercial. You're wiped out. You don't have anything to advertise. She said, no. I've called the union, and I've got them to waive your fee, so you're going to get to work for nothing. I said, oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But you got to get to Brooklyn. So I flew to Brooklyn. I didn't know what her plan was. I figured I'll give it a shot, whatever it is. And we shot this commercial. Let me show you something. We shot 15-second versions of this. We shot 30 and 45-second version of it. I'm going to show you the 45-second version. Ready? I'm Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. When Blueland asked me to clean a toilet on TV, I said, are you joking? But here I am because Blueland is serious about saving you money. Stop paying for wasteful plastic bottles. With Blueland, you only need to buy one. Easily clean anything around your house. Your vault? Portraits of your ancestors? And at $2 a tablet, you're set for life. And so am I, because I get a royalty. Get your kit now at Blueland.com. Smells like a deal. Yeah. Thank you. If this whole real estate thing doesn't work out, I can make toilet commercials. I'm excited about that. So here was her plan. She figured she had all that inventory sitting in centralized warehouses around the United States. Everybody's locked in their homes and their condos, and have been now at this point for over 3 months. And they got to clean their toilets. So her plan was to put this on remnant cable television at night at between 2 and 6 in the morning. Remember, everybody was staying up all night watching Netflix and whatever else they were doing during the pandemic. And she thought maybe she could capture an audience and ship it direct to them. And we had no idea whether this would work or not, but it was worth a shot because she needed to turn that $50 million back into cash. So we started in markets like Houston, and then Dallas and Chicago, et cetera, just buying these ads at $200, $250, $1,200, whatever it was in the middle of the night. Normally on a campaign like that, you would get 2.5% response and break even and call it a marketing cost. But that's not what happened here. She wanted to make the connection with Shark Tank. That's why I'm in this commercial. And it worked because people were watching the reruns of Shark Tank like crazy during the pandemic. We started the first week, we got a 6% response rate. direct to consumer at $29.95 a kit that cost us like $4 to make. And so then it was 7, then 8, then 10, then 12, 15, 16% response rates. Unbelievable, blowing these kits out to people that needed to clean their toilets. I mean, they had to clean their toilets. What are they going to do? And this comes right to their store or their door with the little tablets. But she got something even more valuable than that. She got the data. She knew who bought it and what they bought, how much they bought, and when they would need refills, and she had their cell numbers. So she'd say, look, you bought the window cleaner. You had 6 tablets. You've just run out of them, give or take a day. You want 6 more tablets? And the response rate would be 30%. So she made back the $50 million in 4 months, all direct to consumer. This company now is going back into retail because its brand is so well known in all retailers, and she's got the control to do it at her terms. This will be the biggest exit in Shark Tank history when it gets sold. It's growing like a weed. It's right on trend. But this is the digital pivot I talked about, using social media. Because if you go to her site now and look at her social media, it's just pounding it out there every single day. Testimonials from customers, all kinds of stuff she shoots. It's like a production about why this company and its direct relationship with consumers matters. And you really have to start thinking about it the same way. Before we go to Q&A, I want to talk to you about 3 things that you have to think about. And I think if it's the only things you remember from this presentation, I want it to be these 3 things. And I always talk about this when I teach students. I've seen thousands of pitches, thousands of pitches, thousands. Are there any attributes present in the successful pitches versus the unsuccessful one? And the only definition of success in a pitch is, do they get the money to start the journey? It does not determine the outcome of the business. Imagine you're going to pitch a bank because you want a loan, or you're pitching an investor, or whatever. It doesn't just have to be Shark Tank. There are 3 attributes present in every pitch that's successful. Not some of the time, all of the time, 100%. So what are they? Number 1, are you able to articulate the opportunity in 90 seconds or less? When I put all 3 of these up, everybody should take a picture of this and never forget it. For example, hi, I'm Sarah Poo. I eliminate plastic waste by digitizing and crystallizing detergent. And I drop it in this bottle, and you don't need a plastic bottle, just this glass when I ship you. I get it. That took 20 seconds. I totally get it. She was able to explain that in 30 seconds or less. The average time, by the way, is 25 seconds. You have to nail down, what's the big vision? What is it? What's the opportunity? If you're still talking about it 2 minutes later, you're lost. So what is the great idea? Now, unfortunately, great ideas are a dime a dozen. What's missing is executional skills. And I caught some of that presentation before I came on here about executing on condo flipping. That guy was dead right. Executing the renovation is the whole deal. That's the whole deal. Whoever he is, he's a friggin' genius. There he is. Now, that part is much more difficult. What is it about you that can take this great idea and turn it into a successful business? Have you done it before? Have you made mistakes and learned your mistakes and are not going to make them again? Have you worked for a competitor? Is it a family business? What is it about you? Because if I was going to renovate a condo, I'd hire that guy because he knows how to do it. And that's all I need to know. A great idea with executional skills is really important. Those 2 things really matter. What is it about you that can take this and move it forward and make it a business? But that's important. But there's one other one, and this one's tough. This one's tough. I've seen the oxygen sucked out of a room. Imagine in the context of Shark Tank, 100,000 people apply, and you're one of the 240 on the carpet. You get the first 2 right. Everybody wants to invest. And then this happens. You have to know your numbers. How big is the market? How fast is it growing? What's the what's the gross margin at different volumes? What's the break-even analysis? How many competitors are there? How many were there last year? How many are there now? Every single question about the numbers, which is the language of business, you have to have the answer to. And if you don't have the answer, have somebody there with you who does. Because you have to understand the business model so that the investor knows your confidence in achieving those numbers. Now, if you get the first two right, you know your numbers, you deserve to burn in hell in perpetuity, and I will put you there myself. You get these three right, and your chances of getting your project done go up geometrically. This is the essence of leadership of an entrepreneur. Everybody in this room has to get these three right. Not today, not tomorrow, every day. For the rest of your lives, this is what matters. Doesn't matter. You have to get this right. Because when you go to investors for a project, particularly in real estate, which is going to take 2 to 3 years to build out, they got to have confidence in you that you understand how to execute, but also you understand the business model. Particularly relevant in real estate where time is money and it affects IRR. You have to be able to get the job done within the margin of error because it's got to be stabilized. If you're doing a building, for example, an area that I played a lot in was climate control storage. We got construction financing, but we couldn't finance it long term until we stabilized at 80%, till we got 80% of the units sold. Because you pay a lot more for construction financing than you do a stabilized loan, as you know. And so we would have to figure out, can we execute, can we market, and what helped us? Social media. Within 100 miles of that location, letting everybody know this new storage facility was coming up right at the corner. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, because you can buy geolocked social media. And lots of pictures of the construction going up and time lapse of the floors going up and the parking lot being paved and all that. Just keeping it on people's minds so the minute it was open, the grand opening on a Saturday, and everybody's got something their grandmother gave them they want to store. And that's how that business works. But it was about stabilizing the business, using social media to do it. But that is the essence of what it takes. Particularly real estate, no matter what you're doing, people have to know about it. They have to know about it. So get your LinkedIn page up, professional picture of you. 3 paragraphs, no more than that is necessary. Make sure you're on every platform. Be consistent. So when people look you up, who is this person? They find you. This all matters. It's very, very hard, particularly when you're doing bigger projects where you need the market to know you're there. I look at it, in condo development right now in Miami, for example, on the beach, these old buildings made in the 70s and 80s. Let's say you're in the 6th line, which is facing the water, and they haven't been renovated in 30 years. So the game going on there is nobody wants to do the work to renovate a condo. It's so hard to do it right unless you really know what you're doing, you have the trades ready. So people are going into the building that I'm in, and I've done this myself, and they own one unit, they buy another one, and they renovate it. And the minute they're finished, let's say it's a Beachview line, they can charge 30% more because nobody wants the hassle, 40% even, because they want to move into the renovated kitchen, the renovated bathrooms. I mean, you go to Miami, every single line is getting reno, because even now, even condo prices have softened there about 18%, it's still the game. It's still the game. But you got to know the building, and you got to know the trades, and you got to know what you're doing. And it's a very, very, very good business because the demand is insatiable. A lot of the people in my building are Canadians. They're snowbirds. They want no muss, no fuss. They want to go down to the renovated condos, spend the long weekends there and all the rest of it, and get the heck out. And they're willing to pay for someone else to do the work to clean it up. And most of those buildings are really shitty builds. And they're going for premium prices because they were made in the 80s and they were crap. And now they're selling at crazy prices just so people can walk outside onto the boardwalk, which has been renovated. That's just one market. All up the east and west coast of Florida, the same thing. Most buyers are Canadians. All right, let's open it up for QA.